My name is Sarah. Welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, September 1st, 2025, and in this episode I want to share my handwerk perikelen. That's a Dutch word for my creative, I always say crafty, but I will change that. Come back to that in a minute. To my creative adventures. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands. So excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk. So that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I make my episodes in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay, that little introduction is always very important for me to start the podcast. As you might know, I am a perfectionist, and I don't know if you recognize that. Maybe you are making a podcast yourself too, but getting started, it is always quite challenging. When I'm talking and there's not a problem most of the time. But just getting started, it always takes me a few tries before I am feeling it. And I interrupted my little introduction. My little introduction, it really helps me to get started because I don't have to think about what I say. I am just saying what I always say. And then by saying it, my introduction for the Dutch video, the Dutch episodes, is way shorter than for the English one, because making English episodes is way more challenging for me than talking in Dutch. So I need an extra long introduction to get Miss Perfect out of the way. But I always say I will share you my handwerk perikelen, which is a Dutch word for crafty adventures. And this morning I realized I never had a good feeling about that specific little tiny word crafty. I don't like the word crafty. It's not really covering what I mean. And I also don't love the sound, or I don't know. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with the word. It's absolutely my problem. It's in me. But this morning I suddenly realized that I can change crafty for the word creative. And creative is the right word. And I suddenly knew why. Because, I don't know, can you hear that helicopter? I am filming with my windows open today, and it's quite a big step for me because I always close the windows, but I feel awkward when we live in small houses and in a row, and our gardens are all connected. So it's good weather. When one of my neighbors is sitting outside, they can hear me. And I always feel awkward, or actually a little bit ashamed, especially when I'm filming in English. But it's September, it's Slaying Your Dragons month, and I will come back to that too. So I'm slaying all the dragons right now, filming with the windows open. Ooh, exciting Monday for Sarah! Where was I? Oh, the creative part. My podcast, for me, the talking about my knitting and crochet is not only the creative part, it's also for me the creative process which is happening in my head, and crafty was more covering the heart and the hand part. I think my creative life, it's all about finding balance in head, heart and hands. When those three are in balance, I'm a happy person. Yeah, so creative, it also goes about my thoughts, about my insights. They are playing a big role in my knitting and crochet life, and sewing every now and then. I never expected that, but for me, a lot of processes I am experiencing in my creative life are symbolizing other processes in life, are really teaching me how I work, on all different kind of levels. So that's why I want to change crafty into creative. I don't know if it's interesting for you to listen to this, but for me it's interesting. So yeah. Okay, It is the first day of September, and September is Slay Your Dragons month for me. Or if you don't like to slay dragons, maybe it's a little bit too violent, you can also turn it into try to connect with your dragons, try to collab with your dragons. I definitely learned it as a parent and a teacher when I was quite close involved to the Waldorf school. End of September they are celebrating Michaelmas. I think you say it like that in English. I won't deep dive in the background information about the Michaelmas festivities, but one thing that really resonated with me was slaying your dragons just before you will go into the darker period of the year, autumn and winter, the resting period. And I really love the idea of checking what your dragons are, and with dragons I mean things you actually want, you have desires or wishes or whatever, but you don't, sparkles, whatever, you don't follow the desires or wishes or sparkles or whatever because you have some negative thoughts about it. You think it will be too hard, it will be too exciting, it's too much out of your comfort zone, you will never be able to do that. And yeah, you can have them in all different ranges, but I really love to check, especially in the month of September, do I have dragons? I always have dragons. I think everyone always has dragons. That's not the problem. Which one am I ready to tackle, to slay, to collab with? And it's really fun to check knitting and crochet wise, your creative life. You can also check personal wise, in your personal life, your mental life, but I do that too, but I will focus on the creative ones this time of the year. I have 3. I picked 3. I have more, but I picked 3. And I will tell you more about them at the end of the podcast, because it was actually my plan to make a special sock knitting episode today. I receive a lot of questions about sock knitting, a lot of people who wants to learn to knit socks, and I think that can absolutely be a dragon you can slay or collab with in September. For me it definitely was a dragon. I had very strong thoughts that I would never be able to knit socks because I couldn't understand how the construction was, so it must be too hard for me to learn. That was absolutely not true. I have I knitted very many socks right now, so it was really satisfying to slay that dragon. So I wanted to make a special sock knitting episode with the warning: I'm not a teacher. I'm not a person who knows specific things about socks that other persons don't know. YouTube is filled with a lot of knowledge from very clever people about sock knitting, all the tutorials, all the background information, and not only YouTube, the internet I should say, because there are a lot of blog posts. You also have a lot of books filled with lovely information. So I just thought, let me share my experience, my sock yarn stash, my favorite patterns or tutorials, just because there's so much interesting and very helpful information that it can also be a little bit overwhelming. You don't know where to start. So I thought, let me make an episode for people who watch my podcast anyway and might be interested in started sock knitting. But when I was filming, I did film a little bit earlier this week. When I was filming, I realized that it wouldn't fit in one episode. So I will spread it over the episodes in September, so you can get prepared. And October is also known as Socktober. Might be the perfect month to start your sock knitting, to slay your dragon. It can also in October. So today I picked a few things about sock knitting to share. I have a new pair of socks I want to show. I made a sock planning for my Christmas gift knitting project. which I tell you all about. I show you my sock yarn stash, which is quite confrontating. I feel a little bit ashamed, but also very rich, so yeah, it's okay. So that's on the list for today. But before we will dive into that, I want to share a little bit about my outfit. And let me start with saying I cut my own hair. Ooh, that was very exciting. I cut my own hair. When I was editing my videos last week, I get really annoyed by the backside of my hair. It really didn't look right. And I actually never see that part of me, because I only see the front part, and I was actually quite okay with that. If you watch my episodes for a longer time, I think in spring, in March or something, I went to my hairdresser and I came back with a very short haircut. I think it was necessary for that moment, but oh, I really lost my confidence with my curls, I guess. And now it's growing back. It was really quite an interesting identify process at that time. But now my hair is growing back. I have a lovely hairdresser. She's very good. She's also very popular, so making an appointment is challenging every now and then. She's also very expensive. And also, she doesn't live in my hometown. So yeah, it's a little bit more time consuming to visit her. And I was still happy with the front. So my hair was quite dry and really looking not nice, not the way I want to at the back. So then I thought, can I cut it myself? And it's always very exciting. I'm not good in it. I used to cut my own kids' hair, and my husband, he put the scissors so far away I couldn't find it anymore, because yeah, it was not my talent, and they were not looking good. My kids, they were very sweet, but the hair was looking very funny, and he couldn't stand it. So he put the scissors away. I have them back right now, but I just can't stop cutting, so it always gets too short. So now I watch some tutorials, and then I only cut a few millimeters, but it's way better, I think. And because I have curls, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit messy. So I think it's very okay. And now maybe next time I have enough courage to do a little bit more. But yeah, and I will go to the hairdresser, but not now. First, I'm recovering from the short haircut. Okay, but what I'm wearing is not a new knit. It's actually an old one. It is my Corran cardigan. The Corran cardigan is a pattern by Rebbeca Clow from the Rebbeca podcast, and I did knit this as a test knit. Not this one, but actually this one. I think it was my first test knit at all, or for her, I'm not quite sure. But I really love this one. The only thing is that I didn't pick the right yarn. It's quite itchy yarn for short-sleeved cardigan. So in the same summer, it was in 2023, I guess. In the same summer, I casted on my second one with Holst Coast, held double. It's also a little bit itchy to me when I'm warm. But there was something happening. The first one was really flying off my needles. It was really a satisfying lace pattern, really rhythmic. I loved knitting it. And the second one, it was a disaster. I got tangled all the yarns, and I had no idea. So I put it away all summer in a project bag. And then in September, I think it was also Dragon Month, I'm not quite sure, but I thought, okay, shall I frog it? Untangle it, and then I managed to untangle and I closed the shoulder seams, and then I thought, okay, let this be a sleeveless vest. So I just added ribbing to the armholes and it was a finished object. And I must confess, I'm not really a big fan of the straight shoulders for sleeveless garments, but this one I really like and I like to wear it, and yeah, I'm really happy I finished it. I'm also wearing one of my skirts. All the links to the pattern I used for that, and also to my Ravelry project pages. You can find all the links in my show notes. I try to keep up with my notes and my show notes very accurate. I think that's the word. So you can find all the information right there about yarns, needles, patterns. Yeah, and I don't have such a page for my sewing projects, but the link to the pattern is also down below. Okay, yeah, let's go to some sock knitting, and I will see you at the end of the episode. Hello! Today it is Wednesday, August 27, 2025, and although it's a lovely warm summer day today in the Netherlands, did I say lovely? I don't really love warm summer days, but it's okay, it's 26 degrees, so it's okay for me. I thought this is the perfect moment for a little Christmas chat, especially about my plans for Christmas gift knitting. And also about how to realize those plans in time before Christmas with no stress. But before I will dive into that, I want to share a little bit about what I'm wearing. I am wearing my Sporti tank today. It's one of my recent finished objects. This one I finished when we just left for our trip to Spain in the car. The Sporti tank from Cieslak, it's my second. I really love this pattern. I made this one size bigger. I had those flubbery skin things, which are still there, but in one size bigger they are a little less visible, and it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. I knitted with a hand-dyed yarn, a mix of cotton and wool and polyamide, so it's actually a sock yarn with cotton, and because the cotton and the wool blend, it has this marled effect. The cotton didn't catch the dye and the wool did, so I really love the look of it. It's dyed by a Dutch dyer. Her name is Alexandra and her company is called Het Wool Based. And unfortunately, that's a hard word, unfortunately, it sounds a little bit weird, but I did it. I only had one skein, and in one size bigger it was not enough to knit the whole garment. It was out of stock, she wouldn't dye it anymore, so I couldn't buy it. And there were some very nice suggestions from viewers to search in other people's private stash to ask if anyone would have something left, but I didn't feel the motivation for that, and I just added another yarn. It's a fingering weight merino, hand dyed in the color Blackie, also by a Dutch dyer, and her name is Linda and her company is called Wool Hobby, and I love the look of it. It's yeah, it's okay for me, so I'm happy. I'm also wearing a handmade skirt, and yeah, this is the skirt I made in one day. Quite imperfect, but it really learned me that my sewing doesn't need to be perfect to be hard jumping, because I did wear this skirt all summer and it made me happy every time, every day, without being perfect. I mixed up a few patterns. I used a free pattern, a free digital download from a Belgian sewing designer. Her company is called Bel Etoile. I will link it down below. And I combined it with the pockets of the songbird skirt from Sew Liberated and also the fake button band. I found the inspiration for it in the estuary skirt from the songbirds from Sew Liberated. The only thing which is happening is the rough inside of the fake button band. I did sew it down, but only a few millimeters from the side, and now it's flapping the wrong side. It's coming out, and I tried to hold it in place by ironing, but that doesn't seem to work. I need to fix it. But I don't really feel motivated, especially because summer, the end of summer is near, so I don't know if it will happen. We shall see. I ordered fabric for dresses for winter, so I want to spend my sewing time on those. Okay, but let's go to the socks. I already shared, so you probably already know, but I will try to give you the short story. I'm not very good at that, in keeping things short. So Christmas socks. Last Christmas I was ill. I was in bed feeling very miserable, and the rest of the family was celebrating Christmas downstairs at our place. And with my family I mean my parents, my brother and his partner, my sister and her partner, their little girl, and my husband and kids and boyfriends, girlfriends. I was not feeling well, so I didn't celebrate with them, and I was upstairs and I could hear them laughing and talk and playing games, and I realized that we are so lucky to have such a good family. We have a very lovely family on both sides. This was my side, the family, but also my husband's family, my in-laws, I think you call it like that. They are all so sweet and lovely people, and yeah, we are surrounded by lovely people, and I know that's something to cherish, so that we do that. So I was realizing that when I was laying in bed with fever. I had a fever dream. No, I felt connected, although I was not there. I still felt connected. So suddenly I felt the need to catch that in some knitting. So I thought how cool it would be to knit every family member a pair of scrappy socks for next Christmas, Christmas 2025. So we all would have a pair of socks which we really like and which keeps our feet warm, but also which reminds us to that connection. Sometimes when you have a special knit on a special moment or a special gift or a special yarn, the feeling of that moment is catched into your project or catched into your yarn or whatever. And I would love it when the feeling of being connected and celebrating Christmas together would be catched in those socks, and we all would go to home with these lovely socks and this lovely memory of connection, being connected with your family. So when my mom came up, we are with 14, so that's quite a big amount of socks to knit. But my mom is also a sock knitter, so when she came upstairs to check me how I was feeling, I told her that idea, and she felt it too. She felt the sparkle too. Yes, that's a good idea. We will do that. So we started. We made a list. I have a list with size I needed to make a person's, and my mom has too. So I started and I decided I want to make scrappy socks with the cuff, the heel and the toes in the same color, and the rest is just scrappy stripes. I do 5 round stripes. That is quite narrow and it means a lot of yarn ends to weave in, but I'm okay with that. It's really, let me show you this sock. I don't mind weaving in yarn ends, and I love the look. Oh, yeah. It's really necessary to tell yourself you don't mind weaving in yarn ends when you are making such a project. I thought I was someone many years ago, who didn't love weaving in yarn ends, but then I realized weaving yarn ends is not something I can skip. So then it's more helpful to tell myself I love weaving yarn ends instead of telling myself I hate it. And it worked, because now I believe myself that I love weaving in yarn ends. So lucky me! So I was good on track, and then the process stuck a little bit, and it was especially caused by the not knowing. I had no idea how I was in the process. Was I on track or was I behind? For me it's very important. I want to be finished at the 1st of December. I'm not good in the present thing, the gift thing. Doesn't matter if I make something or if I buy something. It is absolutely caused by my perfectionism. What's happening all the time. I have an idea. No, there's someone who needs a gift. A birthday gift, a Christmas gift, or just because you want to give someone a gift on a special occasion. And then I get the idea. And then Miss Perfect is always involved and say, oh, but we can make something special because we love that person. Let's do this and this and this and this. But then it gets so complicated that I get overwhelmed and I do nothing. And at the end, quite often I have a gift, a messy gift, or a lot of stress because I want that perfect gift. So it's not it's not something I like to do. It always stresses me out. Sometimes I do have a good result, most of the time I don't, but I'm always very busy. It's an energy leak, so I don't like that. So I really have a good thought about, do I really want to do this? Because I must knit 7 pairs of socks, and that's quite a lot. So do I really want to put my time in that? And I felt a strong yes. So okay, let's go for it. But then the process dropped. And it was caused by the not knowing how big my sock must be, this one. And also not now knowing when I need, what I need to do to finish in time. So I tackled that problem yesterday. This was actually a sock for my husband, and I measured and I checked my notes. It was a little bit challenging because I do another heel for this one, because the fit is good on them. This is the heel flap and gusset, and for those I had the shadow wrap short row heel, and my gauge was a little bit different, so I got confused. And I have a sock ruler and my notes, but I didn't know, and I don't want to fit because I want it to be a surprise. So yeah, a lot of thinking. Miss Perfect is back from holiday and nothing happening. And yesterday I decided, okay, let's do it. It was a bit on the short side for my husband, but my son, his feet are a little bit smaller, shorter. So I decided that this pair of socks would be for him. And then I did all my measurements and I made notes, and I have very much notes, very many notes. I did write down all the sizes, all the stripes, all the steps. It's very messy, but it was very clear to me. And at some point I calculated on the internet how many days there are left until it's Christmas. 137, although that was yesterday, so now 136. And I had 97 steps. So I was happy when I would do 1 step every day, I would make it in time. So I made a planning. I just printed some, a monthly planner from Canvas, just a plain format. And I noted what I need to do. Most of the time it's knitting 2 stripes, and sometimes a heel or a border or a cuff or a toe. But most of the time 2 stripes. And I colored every sock. This is what I need to do and how many stripes. I colored every sock part with a different color. And when I do this every day, I will be finished with the knitting part on Wednesday, November 12th. That's 6 weeks before Christmas. I didn't plan the weaving in yarn end part. So I think it will be okay, because I love weaving in yarn ends. And otherwise I can do that the last 2 weeks of November. Also I planned something every day, and of course there are days that I will be too busy for it or other things, but that is not a problem, because I can get I can check if I'm on track, and sometimes I will be a little bit behind, and sometimes I will work a little bit faster, but I know where I am in the process, and that organization part really calms my nerves, because now I feel very confident and very motivated to work on it, and I already did my part for today. I am really looking forward to finish all those socks and to have them all together. Yeah, it will be quite a job, but yeah, it's really lovely to do that for my family. Okay, I'm working with my sock planning for a few days now, so I thought it might be nice to give you a little update. It is so impressive how the planning totally changed my feeling about this project. As I told you, I felt quite overwhelmed, especially by the not knowing how many stripes to knit for the sizes I needed, and also not knowing how I was in the process. Was I behind or not? And now I know everything. I know the sizes and I know what to do to make it in time. And all the negative inner energy is disappeared, and now it's really a heart jumping project. It of course was a heart jumping project and also was meant to be a heart jumping project because it's for my family, which I really love. Oh, sun is coming. But the not knowing stressed me out, and now I know everything. I work on this sock every morning, and it really makes me happy every morning. It's my I always start my day with 30 minutes of knitting or crochet, and now I grab this project. And it was absolutely not a problem to do what I must do, what I plan to do every day. I was a little bit curious about the heel because it would be a little bit more time consuming than only knitting 2 stripes, but it was not a problem at all. It is making me so happy that I added a sock, which I also had some negative feelings about. This is the sock I am knitting for my sister in this beautiful yarn. And it's a story about not following your inner feeling. Sometimes you are knitting and you know, oh, it's not good. I didn't make the right decision, and you are ignoring that feeling and just keep knitting. I did that with this sock. I completely finished the first sock, almost. And then I realized it was not good. I really lost my motivation for this sock. And yeah, now, although I love to make socks for my sister and I also love the yarn, so I thought, let's add it to the sock yarn basket, to my sock planning. And although it's a different size and the steps are not matching with the steps I planned for the other socks, I just knit 10 rounds every day, and then it's okay. Then the socks will be finished one day. So a little basket filled with sock love, making me happy. And it's so interesting for me to realize how much influence organization can have on a knitting project. Yeah, for me. It's personal, of course. I know some people don't care about being organized, they don't need it. I know a lot of people feel the same as I do. When you are overwhelmed by a project, it really can help you to organize the project, make small steps, plan small steps to get back on track again. Okay, hello. Oh, that's a little bit of weird setting. Oh, there's a mirror behind me. I don't want you to see the standard. I have no idea if you can see it this way. Okay, it was quite a challenge to find the right setting for a little sock yarn talk, because I want to show you that I am surrounded by my sock yarn. I think this is my sock yarn stash. It's quite some yarn. I don't think you can see all. You don't have to, because I feel a little bit ashamed right now. As you probably can see, sock yarn is my weak point. I have a lot of sock yarn, more than I need, but it feels very rich. I always try to compare my yarn stash with my bank account. I don't complain when my bank account gets bigger and bigger. My yarn stash is getting bigger more quickly than my bank account, and I think, no, I don't think that. I know that they are related, those situations. But I feel a rich person. So this is my yarn stash, and I want to share some thoughts about sock yarn because I got some questions about it. And let me start with warning: I don't know anything. No, that's not true. I only know what I know. So maybe I miss things, or my personal experiences are different from other people. But when I wanted to start knitting socks, I had no idea what kind of yarn you actually needed for socks. I have two different weights which I knit socks with. Most of the time I knit socks with fingering weight. And fingering weight is quite often coming into yarn balls, commercial yarn balls. I will come back to that, or hand-dyed yarn skeins. The yarn balls are quite often 50 gram or 100 gram. Do I have some 100 gram commercial yarn? This one, I guess. Yeah. 100 gram is about 420 meter, and 50 gram is of course half of it, so 210. That's the fingering weight. And in this basket, which is called my sockable basket, sockable is Dutch for sock yarn. It's actually not only sock yarn. It used to fit in this basket. It's not actually a basket. It's a plastic box. In this box, it used to fit in this box, and it was also my limit. Something went wrong, or good. It's yeah. In this plastic box, I keep also other fingering weight yarn, and that's the difference between sock yarn and fingering weight yarn. To me, is quite often if there's polyamide or not. It's not necessary to have polyamide in sock yarn. You have sock yarns with other additions to the wool for some strength. But for example, this is a fingering weight yarn. It was gifted to me by a lovely Dutch yarn shop, Wol uit het Zuiden. It's from Rosarios, and I'm quite sure when I would knit socks with this yarn, it's 100% organic wool, it would get damaged quite quickly because there's no extra strength from the nylon, the polyamide. In Dutch we call it nylon. And because it is at your feet and you are walking, it's going into your shoes, there's much more movement between the woolen fabric and its surroundings than when it will become a cardigan. So that's the reason why quite often something is added to the yarn, to the woolly yarn, to create a sock yarn. And most of the time it's polyamide. Some people prefer other things. They prefer much more natural sock yarn. I also have sock yarn with linen. Maybe this is one. I think it is. This is 50% linen, 50% wool. Then the linen is a strong component. Nettle I also have. I'm forgetting an important one. Yeah, I'm not sure. But quite often it's 70% wool, 30% something else, 75, 25. Nah, it can change. I have some sock yarn, which is 100% wool. This is 100% Portuguese wool. And I knitted a pair of colorwork socks with it. And it holds perfectly. I own a lot of socks, so I do wear my socks every now and then, and I have a lot of socks, so I can change quite often. So it's not that I wear them daily or weekly. They can rest in between. But I spoke to one of my knitting friends, and she told me she knitted socks with those, and within a few times she walked holes in it. And of course that's really not what you want when you knit yourself a pair of socks. And I think damaging socks, walking holes in it, it's also a little bit of a personal thing. Sometimes it's because of the yarn, but apparently she has holes in her socks very quickly, and I don't have it, and I wear my socks knitted with this yarn more than 5 times, absolutely, and nothing is wrong. So it has also to do with the pressure on your feet, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, you have to learn. Although I love the natural, sustainable yarns, I'm not against nylon polyamide in my sock yarn. I have no problems with using it. Then there is commercial sock yarn. You have those commercial sock yarns. This is from Lana Grossa. It was a gift from a friend. And this is from Durable. It's a Dutch brand. This is also one of my favorite commercial sock yarns. Zauberball from Schoppelwolle. I love the colors. This is actually quite blue for me. But it's not meant for me, but I love the change of colors in the commercial sock yarn. And you have the plain ones, this is with tweed, but you also have the stripy ones, the self-striping ones, and all different kinds. Quite often the price is quite attractive. I also have a lot of hand-dyed yarn skeins in my sock yarn stash, and most of them, no, that's not true. I'm not quite sure. A lot of them are gifted to me by the dyers, which I feel very, very grateful for. But also buying a skein of hand-dyed sock yarn quite often was something I could do very easy when I visited a knitting event. Buying a sweater quantity of something, a sweater quantity impulsive, it's more exciting than buying single skeins. So I have a lot gifted, lovely gifts from lovely people, which reminds me to lovely meetings and lovely events. But also I bought quite some myself. So those are my hand-dyed skeins. Then I have a few, not much, but a few DK weight skeins. So that's a thicker yarn than fingering weight skeins. I prefer fingering weight for socks, wearing in my shoes, but DK weight sock yarn can also be very nice when you make house socks, or when you don't mind wearing thicker socks in your shoes. I can wear thicker socks in my shoes too, but for example, my kids, they love to wear the thicker socks when they are at home. So then it's called 8-fach, that's German I think, 8-ply. And the fingering weight is a 4-ply. This is also with nylon, 80%, 20%. So a lot of yarn. It was actually my plan. I made a basket and it was my plan to knit these yarns away in 2025. It will not happen. I keep my yarn on different places. That big wooden box is, it's a little bit as a hidden treasure box because I completely forgot that I own it. So it's good to watch in every now and then. This big basket is with all the yarns I use for my scrappy socks. All the single yarn balls which are already broken, do you call it like that? They are not new, I already used a little bit. And I have a little wooden box for my baby yarns, my baby scraps. I'm using it quite often right now for my scrappy socks. Those tiny ends which are perfect for stripy socks or other scrappy projects. Then I have this little plastic box. As I said, this is a mix from sock yarn and normal fingering weight yarn. And I also have 2 advent calendars. I only grabbed one for now, but oh, haha, there's a big skein into. 2 advent calendars, which I also ordered in sock yarn, a few single skeins, and I'm making it into a blanket. And also I have a crochet one, but that's there behind. I'm also making a blanket of. So I'm not only using my sock yarn for socks, I love to make other scrappy projects, crocheting granny squares, crochet for blankets or for garments, the Ariana cardigan, my Ariana sweater I made from it. And also I love to hold it double. My scrappy lead cardigan is a mix of all kinds of fingering weight yarns holding double. So it becomes a DK weight, so I love doing that. So my sock yarn stash is quite big. Oh, you can also use sock yarn for shawls, for hats, yeah, for anything. Oh, I want to knit right now. I definitely want to knit. Okay, a finished object, this pair of socks. I finished them actually in June, I guess. But I never showed the end result. This is a pattern by a Dutch designer who is called Mirjam Molenbeek, but the pattern is in English, so you can knit them with no problems. These are called the Hopjes socks, and the Hopjes are actually tiny little sweets. They are from The Hague, and Mirjam lives in The Hague, or actually in Scheveningen, which is quite close to The Hague. And yeah, she wanted to honor the Hopjes, the sweets, because they will quit making the original Hopjes. The factory will close, and she always added them. She used to have a web shop with yarns, and she always added those tiny sweets to her orders. So when I ordered at her web shop, I always could make my kids happy with those tiny sweets. So she thought, okay, the factory will close. I will honor these little sweets with, yeah, name this pair of socks to them, the Hopjes socks. It's a very easy pattern. It's a little baby cable. I think it's a 4-round repeat. I'm not quite sure. It is really easy to knit. You don't need a cable needle. The only thing was I had a little bit trouble with memorizing it. When I am knitting cables, I always need a focus point. I put a stitch marker on my work so I can count if I am already at the round something special needs to be done. Because when you are cabling, and it's also for those socks, quite often you have quite an easy stitch pattern. I think this is knit to purl to. And then in one of the rounds you need to do something special to create that little cable. And because of the darker color of the yarn and also the tiny stitches, I found it quite hard to see if I already was in that round or not. And I didn't keep track with my pencil. So in the end I found a way to see it with a stitch marker, I guess. So that was the only thing, but the rest of the pattern is very clear and very, very lovely. I picked quite some dark yarn. It's a commercial sock yarn. It is called Anel Super. I think Anel Super. It's from Belgium, although I don't think the sock yarn is from Belgium. It's a Belgian company, and they sell it in my local yarn shop, La Boutique Peridot in Breda. And it's a very cheap sock yarn. I think it comes in 50-gram balls, and I think they are not even €4 per 50 gram. And you quite often when you, I didn't have enough at 50 gram. I almost, I just needed to break into my second yarn ball. But it's really budget friendly, and I think that's a good thing. You have all the ranges, all the choices. I don't know how it holds yet. I knitted one pair in it before, but I didn't wear it quite often yet. I didn't wear those at all. I picked quite a dark color. It's do you call it charcoal, or in Dutch I would say anthracite. Anthracite, is that the English term? I think the little baby cables would show up better in a lighter color, but I really wanted plain dark socks. I have a lot of colorful socks. I always wear tights. Is that the word? It's not a legging, a tights with those feet attached. I thought it would be lovely when there was not a big contrast. I have black sneakers and black tights, and I love the socks to be visible, but with a very low contrast, hardly any contrast. So that's why I chose this color. I haven't worn them yet because I didn't wear tights for months, but it's still warm and summer weather in the Netherlands, so but it will happen in September, I guess. Mirjam has more sock knitting patterns, all in English. All her patterns are in English. So check her Ravelry shop if you are interested. Okay, that was it for now. This week I will be busy with crocheting my Lowrider cardigan. Oh, I completely forgot I have that cardigan on my needles. I had no idea, and I was so enjoying working on it. So I picked it up again, and it's flying off the needle. So I hope to share more about it in the very near future. I'm also back on track with my Audrey in Unst vest. It was quite a challenge to do the body part in fingering weight, not much happening, but now I am at the fun part, the upper part with the lace, and I'm really enjoying that knit, and I can't wait to finish it because I think it will be the perfect piece for this time of the year, a sleeveless vest. And I think it will look adorable, and I love the yarn I'm knitting with, so I also hope to share more about it very, very soon. Okay, at the beginning of this episode I shared a little bit about slaying dragons in September. I picked 3 dragons for my own creative life. The first one is reorganizing my yarn stash. As you could see, my sock yarn stash was quite overwhelming at the moment. I picked a plastic box a few years ago to store it all in, but it outgrown it completely. That's not only happening with my sock yarn. The system I use is not working anymore because it's just getting too big. But I need to refresh the system, I need to update it, and for that I'm postponing that because for that I need to think about how to do it, where to keep it, maybe go to IKEA to buy some more boxes. I don't like going to IKEA, so a lot of reasons why I don't do it, but I know when I once reorganized my yarn I will be very happy. So that is something I want to do in September, and I think I will bring you with me a little bit in that process, or definitely I share the end of the process. I hope it's heart jumping. The second thing is that I also want to organize my works in projects. I want to share some thoughts about the cast-on party I celebrated. I had a very strong idea. There was a lot going on my needles, but I think it's quite okay. But the projects are all over the place. I shared that I totally forgot my Lowrider cardigan. That never happens to me. So that means it's not very structured at the moment, so I want to clear that too, and also check all my project pages, my own knitting book, the pictures I made, just a little bit of reorganizing. It's also planned for September. And the third one, that's actually the most fun. No, the other 2 I like them too, but it's about a knitting project I have. My absolutely favorite cardigan is not made by me. I bought it in a thrift store, or actually it was more a vintage store. I think 10 years ago. I was not a knitter by then. This is the reason why I want to learn knitting. But it's absolutely old, and there are holes getting in and all the things, and I here unraveling, and it's just the quality is not good enough to fix it. So I bought yarn to remake it years ago, and it still didn't happen. So I think it will happen in September, although the start will happen in September. That's also on my list, and of course I will keep you updated. Okay, this was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you are interested in seeing more of me, HeartJumping Friday might be something for you. It's my paid membership here on YouTube with an extra video every Friday, a weekly video in which I answer all your questions and I show you a little bit of what I'm up to during the week. More information you can find in the show notes, and if you have any further questions, please send me an email at itisasarah@gmail.com. That's also down below. For now, I want to thank you for watching. I wish you a very, very good week filled with heart-jumping moments. If you can't find them, create them because we need them. See you next time. Bye bye.